A 75-year-old man was brutally raped and murdered. The suspect in this case. It took 58 years to be locked down by the police. As a case officer, when I opened the door of the 92-year-old man's house, this unsolved British case that has been in the dust for more than half a century finally ushered in the moment when the truth came out. What we're going to talk about today, the murder of Louisa Dunn that shook Britain. June 28, 1967. Bristol, UK. A seemingly calm Wednesday morning. Neighbors, as usual, walked past the familiar house on Brittany Road. Reached out and rang the doorbell. This is the home where 75-year-old Louisa Dunn lives alone. She was a widowed woman. Husband passed away. This community has many of the elderly. People often walk and chat together. But this morning, the atmosphere is a little different. Louisa, who usually appears with a smile when she knocks on the door, never been seen. The house was uncomfortably quiet. They pushed open the door and went in. And here's what happens. Almost made their hearts stop. Police quickly arrived at the scene. Louisa's body was found in the living room. After the preliminary forensic investigation, the judgment was made. His cause of death was asphyxiation due to external force. A follow-up autopsy further confirmed they were victims of sexual violence. As an elderly person who has lived alone for many years, suffering such a vicious injury in one's own home, word spreads. The entire Eastern community was in panic. In those days, crime is not uncommon, but someone who can do this to a 75-year-old, how twisted and dark the heart must be. The police immediately launched a search. Soon on the window of Louisa's house, they found a complete palm print. But that was 1967. Although this palm print is key evidence, but it's hard to find its owner. The Bristol police did what seemed at the time very radical decision. Expand mass fingerprint collection. They are community-centric, knocking on doors. It rugs out male fingerprints. In just 1 month, the police collected 20,000 fingerprints. The enormity of the project can be imagined. More complex comparisons are also time-consuming and laborious. After 3 months of fighting day and night, the results were hopeless. 20,000 fingerprints didn't match. Only then did the police realize they face, most likely, a roving murderer. For months have passed. Don't say if he's still in Bristol. He may have even been arrested by this manhunt. Frightened to flee abroad. In desperation, the police can only issue a reward. Upgrade clue. Yet year after year, the police officer in charge of the case has retired. New people take over, then retire. Old Bristol residents still remember this cold case. But for young people, it's just old news from before they were born. Louisa's case slowly turned into a stack of files in a filing cabinet. A cold number in an unsolved case. Those who love her. People who knew him, and they die with time. Until 2023, things are finally turning around. Avon and Somerset Police, UK, decided to re-examine the outstanding case. Because investigative technology is no longer what it was in 1967. DNA testing is not what it used to be. The police uncovered the physical evidence preserved that year. Those biological samples taken from Louisa's clothing. Yes, this evidence has been preserved intact for 58 years. The police in 1967 had no idea what DNA was. They're just following a hunch. Thought it might be useful in the future. And now they finally come in handy. Modern DNA technology, capable of extracting complete maps from extremely small samples. And here's the thing. The UK has established a huge DNA database. It contains millions of messages. The police will proceed from DNA input system extracted from Louisa's clothing. An exciting moment came when the match was successful. November 14, 2024. Heavily armed police rush into the east of England, a house in Ipswich. A 92-year-old man, sitting quietly on the sofa watching TV. The police didn't say much, handcuff him directly. Leland Headley, you are under arrest, facing arrest and charges by the police. Headley denied it on the spot, in connection with Louisa's case. But DNA doesn't lie. It's his mark on Louisa's clothes. The police compared the palm print again. The results are exactly the same. As the investigation deepens, the police discovered the Headley involved was between 1973 and 1978. Also in Ipswich, committed 10 burglaries. 1977, more for sexual violence against 2 elderly women. Initial indictment. He was sentenced to life imprisonment for these crimes. But after a subsequent appeal, the sentence was commuted to 7 years. And for serving time in prison, complying with the commutation provisions at the time, he was released after actually serving 2 years in prison. According to his neighbor's recollection, Headley usually feels more ordinary. The neighbors only knew that he had served time in prison, but I don't know the specific reason for the case. A neighbor mentioned Headley once casually said that it is rare for him to live a long life. But until the case came to light, people just realized the seriousness of his past. Just such a person lived in the community for decades. Neighbors greet him and chat. I thought he was just an ordinary old man. No one thought, this seemingly kind old man, he raped and killed many elderly women. Police follow-up investigation found that Headley is very good at disguising himself with harmless images. He is usually gentle, even a little introverted. It's so easy to make people feel safe. And it is this external impression that he uses to gain solitude. The elderly enter the home after trusting them to commit a crime. Combined case clues. The police also confirmed he has committed crimes across regions in different regions. This also added to the difficulty of detection in the early years. Even after being arrested, he also only admitted to lesser crimes. Apparently, Leland Headley is a serial offender who specifically targets older women. June 2025, the case was finally heard at Bristol Crown Court. At the age of 92, he sat in the dock. Facing accusations made 58 years ago, the jury assembled all the evidence: DNA, palm print, victim injury scene traces. To this day, the witness no longer exists, but well-preserved DNA and physical evidence. Let this cold case come to light. Defense counsel has little to say. DNA accuracy is approaching 100%. The palm prints also match perfectly. The evidence is overwhelming. After days of deliberation, the jury unanimously found Leland Headley guilty. July 1, 2025. Headley was sentenced to life imprisonment. Minimum sentence of 20 years. For a 92-year-old man, this almost means he will spend the rest of his life in prison. Some of you might ask, why has 58 years passed? The case is still under statute of limitations. The statute of limitations refers to certain criminal acts. If a certain amount of time has passed, can't sue again. This is to protect the rights of the accused, avoid memory loss due to evidence, and affect the fairness of the trial. But murder is an exception. There is no statute of limitations for murder in the UK, no matter how many years have passed. As long as there is enough evidence, can be arrested. This is precisely what the police can do after 58 years. The reason for the arrest of Headley, there is also a related legal concept. It's called non bis in idem. A person cannot be tried twice for the same crime. If you were ever acquitted, the police cannot arrest you again for the same case. But in 2003, the UK changed the law. Under certain circumstances, if new and reliable evidence emerges, people who have been acquitted can be retried. This mainly applies to serious crimes such as murder. Headley's case doesn't involve that, because he was never tried in the Louisa case. But this change in law, it really helped the police solve many old cold cases. Now, Leland Headley can only stay in prison quietly, waiting for death, but he got away with it. 58 years. Louisa's immediate family has passed away. Only one distant relative is still alive. After the case is solved, he issued a statement that I am deeply saddened by. All those who knew and loved Louisa are no longer here. I don't see justice being done. How many people have heard this sentence? 58 years is too long. Until most of the people involved have passed away. Those who would most like to see the murderer caught, those who loved Louisa the most, can't wait for this day. Justice has arrived. But for them, it came too late.